Amending Title I, Municipal Parish Organization, Chapter 1, Governing Body of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Baton Rouge and Parish of East Baton Rouge, so as to amend Section 1(2)(c)(1) to add the requirement that the parish attorney approve all items seeking settlement prior to submission of the agenda by Councilwoman Jen Rock and Councilman Dwight Hudson. Do we have anyone wishing to speak on this? Ms. Landry?
Penny Mae Landry, y'all are going to be shocked. I am in favor of this amendment, and I would also like to applaud Council members Rocca and Hudson for bringing forward this amendment. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on the item? Seeing none, council members? Councilman Dunn Jr.
Parish Attorney, please. Greg Rome. Sir.
Yes.
You were presented with a question to ask you your opinion on was this in conflict with the plan of government, being that we're the elected body to represent the legislative branch. And this is our duty to make these decisions. It was asked, was this a transfer of our power to your office? What was your response to that opinion? Do you remember that question?
I do not.
Okay, well, I just gave it to you since you got selective amnesia.
What's that?
You didn't hear the question?
I heard the question. I tell you, I don't remember what I said.
Okay, just answer it.
Whether it's a transfer of power to me?
Yes.
No, I think you can put whatever you want on the agenda.
But is it in conflict with the plan of government? Is it in conflict with law?
I don't think it's in conflict with law.
You don't think?
No.
You need some time to do some research on it?
I mean, I can if you want me to.
Yes. I want you to give me a definitive answer, not a I think, a maybe, a possibility.
Okay.
So if you need more time to research that, please, sir, research that.
Okay.
All right. I'm totally against this item. I don't know what the wishes of the body is. Again, I don't want to transfer any power that we have over to a non-elected member in the parish attorney who works for us. This item was brought because of myself and others who bring settlements on lawsuits and request this body to consider those settlements as we do all the time. In my opinion, I see this as us asking the parish attorney's permission or getting their permission to do that. And I'm against getting their permission to bring an item up here to consider for settlement when a lawsuit is brought by a citizen of East Baton Rouge Parish. That's my 2 cents. I'll wait for Greg and his team to get that information back to us, whether that's this meeting or in the future. But I wanted to get his opinion on to see if that was in conflict.
I would tell you one more thing, Councilman. It does actually track the state law. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but it's not. It does. Yeah. It's not in conflict. It tracks state law. Read it. The state law. In any suit filed against the state of Louisiana, a state officer, a state agency, a local public official, or political subdivision, the defendant, or proper representative thereof, upon the advice and with the concurrence of the Attorney General, District Attorney, Parish Attorney, City Attorney, or any other proper official, as the case may be, may compromise or settle claims presented in such suit. That's revised statute 13:5109.
Well, I didn't, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't hear requires approval of. Your item says require approval of. Did I mishear you? The item on my agenda says require approval of the parish attorney, that we have to get your approval. Did you say that just now in reading the state statute?
No, I said upon my advice.
Okay. Approval and advice is different.
Okay.
So it's not in concurrent with the state law. Do you disagree? You think approval and advice is the same?
I mean, You do it upon my advice. I'm not saying it's my approval, but it's the same thing.
But the item says upon your
I didn't
approval.
write the item.
I'm just telling you what the item says. So they're not the same.
Hang on.
So again, even though Mr. Rome tried to state it was the same as the state law, approval and advice, in my opinion, are two different things. So it's not the same as the state law. This item says we have to get the parish attorney's approval to bring such an item. Go ahead.
It says upon advice and with concurrence. I mean, I would assume concurrence would be approval, but if you don't, you don't.
Okay, I'm just asking you. Does that mean approval?
It would to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilman Moak?
Okay. Greg, could you come back up, please? So if you can, real quick, and I know I'm asking you real quick because I only got 5 minutes. The process now, what is the process now in settling a claim, if we can put it in a nutshell?
If our office considers a claim to exceed $9,999.99, it goes to claims review. If claims review approves a particular amount,
claims review is who?
Is a group of attorneys in my office.
Okay.
Mostly out of litigation section.
Okay.
And our third-party adjuster, Pat LaSalle.
Okay.
They vote on an item. They may vote a particular number.
And their vote's a recommendation.
All we do is recommend.
Okay,
y'all.
yep, okay.
Yeah. I bring that matter
Okay.
to y'all and make a recommendation to settle X case for X amount of dollars.
So
And y'all either
what-
vote to approve or you don't.
So once your group of attorneys make a vote, after it's $9,000, they make a vote, they go to you and say, you know what, a majority of us say, you know, we need to settle this, take it to the council. You as a parish attorney bring it to us as a council. We then put it on the agenda and we vote on it, and ultimately it's the council approves or denies it.
Well, my office puts it on the agenda, but yes.
Okay. So each council member, though, can take that same thing and they can put it on the agenda themselves for us to vote on a settlement themselves right now. Let's take that same case, $9,001. I got a case out there. I've come to Ashley, and I come to you and say, I'm putting an item on the agenda to settle XYZ case for $9,001. I want it on the agenda. Do you tell me yes or no, I can't or cannot do that?
You can put whatever you want on it.
Okay. So you haven't impeded my ability as an elected official to put something on the agenda.
I would not impede your ability.
Okay. We take this ordinance. This ordinance now adds, correct me if I'm wrong, it adds a step that said, if I want to put something on this agenda for $9,001, I need to run it by you, or the committee reviews it. The committee that reviews it is going to give a yes or no. That committee or reviewer is going to then tell me, hey, we don't think it's right to settle, or, yeah, good idea, go ahead and run with it. Correct? That's what this ordinance is doing. Am I right? Okay. If this ordinance, by adding that in, all we're doing is adding this ordinance in that says, hey, we want you to take this to the review committee before it goes on the agenda, just like the items that y'all bring up. You're asking us to, we're voting on following a procedure, but even if it comes back as a no from your review committee, or a recommendation by you not to do this, can I still put it on the agenda?
Yeah, I think you could still put it on the agenda.
So you're not hampering my ability in any way. You're just advising this is good or bad by a yes or no vote by your review committee or your opinion.
I think that's why this statute was enacted, whatever it is, 13:5109.
Okay. If I've got what this ordinance is, that's the gist of this ordinance, that instead of us just outright going and saying, look, I'm going to put this on the agenda, I'm going to put this for a settlement, my council members are either going to pass it or not, and just not even review it, not even anything. That's what's going on now. What we're looking to do is add to this ordinance to give us a process to where when we come before the council, we have actual attorneys in the parish attorney's office, people that are supposed to be reviewing this, give us an opinion, a recommendation, but not tell us, no, you cannot put this on the agenda. You can still do it, but it is our opinion of this. We ask for those all the time when we get these. If I'm wrong, just please, whenever it's your turn to talk, let me know. But that's what I'm getting this ordinance is. So I don't see how this is impeding us in any kind of way from still doing our civic duty as elected officials by putting something on the agenda. Thank you.
Councilman Hudson.
Greg, just stay right there. If I could get Courtney Humphrey to please come up. She helped us write this originally. You were up there quick. You knew I was going to call you. So you were up there quick. You knew I was going to call you, didn't you?
Yes.
All right. So just for everybody's understanding, in your documentation on the agenda, we are looking at section 1.2C1, and particularly the last sentence in C1. Am I correct in saying that,
I
Courtney?
believe so, but I don't have it in front of me.
I got you.
I can go grab it.
So I'm going to read
right.
section C1 real quick, just so that we all get on the same page about what this does, and then I'll talk about why we're doing it. So it reads, only the mayor, president, members of the council, and the heads of departments and other agencies, boards, and commissions of the local government may place items on the agenda. Items seeking authority to settle or compromise claims shall not be submitted to the agenda without prior approval of the parish attorney. So respectfully, Greg, in answering Councilman Moak's question, you're a little bit off in that it does need your stamp of approval before it goes on. Now, the true intention is to basically do what we're already doing as a matter of procedure and have the settlements go through claims review before they enter here. So, Courtney, I just want to hear from Parish Attorney's Office to make sure that that interpretation or that that's correct, what I just said.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. It's correct.
Okay. Having said that, as one of the sponsors, and I would look to my co-sponsor, Councilman Rocca, to see if this is acceptable to her too. I'm open to the idea that that we change the wording just a little bit. I think it would be germane. Ashley can advise us on that, but it could read something to the effect of items seeking authority to settle or compromise claims shall not be submitted to the agenda without first going through the claims review process. Truly, my intention is to get sound legal advice to this council before we take a vote on settling things. That's really my only intention of seeking this ordinance.
But let me tell you where I disagree with.
Okay. Yes.
I'm not going to stop you from putting an item on the agenda. I don't think that's what he asked me. Can I stop him from putting an item on the agenda? If he comes and puts, X amount of dollars to settle this case on the agenda, I'm not going to stop it. I think this is the procedure, what you're after. But so I'm not off in that respect, and I disagree with it. But this is the procedure. Either you want to do it or you don't.
So you're saying, as a matter of practice, if a council member came and said, "Hey, I want to give this a shot on settling this one," you're always going to approve it. And that's.
I'm not saying I'm going to approve it.
Problem.
If you want to go,
I'm sorry. You're always going to approve putting it on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. Well, second to the claims, Councilman Rocca. If I can get some feedback from you? Are you amenable to that?
Council members want to talk 1, 2, maybe even 3 times before I get a chance to talk. So
I just talked the one time.
I know, and not you.
Okay. I'm going to wait to get feedback, and then we'll talk about it. But I want to put that out there in the universe for us to discuss. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, please, if you don't mind. To piggyback on what Mr. Hudson was saying, look, the reason why I was interested in sponsoring this item was really to serve as a protection to not only council members, but to fiscal interests. And I'll explain to you a little bit about what those protections are. First, with regard to the fiscal interest, if you have a matter that is mid-discovery, and you have a council member that brings that item and starts talking about settlement negotiations, but we haven't completed the discovery in the case, we don't have depositions done, it's really important for us to go and talk to our parish attorney's office and the people that are handling the case to make sure that we're not impeding or we're not discussing amounts that are not calculated and the risk are not calculated and those things are not properly given to us to understand what our actual liability is. The other piece is we are a political body. We get contacted by several folks, attorneys, everyone, to try to settle their matters. And we feel the pressures of people bringing these things forward, asking us to move these things through. This protection is for council members. All of us, all 12 of us. So we don't have those political pressures placed upon us to put things on an agenda without first sending it to our lawyers and having the lawyers say, yes, this is appropriate. Yes, this is good timing. And yes, this is what the monetary amount should look like and what our liability looks like. Finally, it's not to keep anyone from being able to maneuver or work with the public or do the jobs that they're interested in. It's really just a protection for all parties involved. The other piece is some of us on this council have decided whenever we were sworn in as council members, we were also self-ordained lawyers. And we could interpret the law, we could say what the law is, we could give legal advice, and we could also, I'm talking about you, Aaron, we could also settle cases. And look, just to keep us safe and to keep our ethics all in line, I think it's a good idea just to have this mechanism in place. Finally, here's the other piece, and I don't know, I can't speak for all of you, but I have no idea how much money is in the coffers with regard to how much we can pay out. That is a serious issue whenever we have multiple folks coming and asking us, and that has to be a calculation. And let's say, for example, we decide a case needs to be settled. The other important piece that we absolutely need our parish attorney's office for is to tell us how we pay it. Oftentimes, we can't just write that big, fat blank check. We have to pay it out over an extended period of time. And that piece and the extension of that payment over months or years even, that has to be negotiated with other attorneys as well. So this is not to impede anybody's power or anybody bringing these items before the parish attorney's office. It's just some safety mechanisms to keep us out of trouble, to keep the money where it's supposed to be, and make sure that we have perfectly accounted books while moving forward, while also serving the public that we may have injured, and we may have liability, which happens more often than not. And yes, Dwight, I'll do whatever you want.
Councilwoman Banks.
Angie, would you come up, please? While she's coming up, anyone that thinks that the parish attorney is immune from political pressure is a delusional. The parish, I have never had anyone call me and ask me to settle a case in 12 years. But I do know that the parish attorney gets those calls. And I do know that there's evidence, and the reality is they operate. They're human, and they operate just like everybody else, based on their own biases, prejudices, relationships, what have you. I want to know, at what point does the parish attorney consult you regarding a settlement offer?
It depends. Throughout the year, could be weekly, monthly.
I meant like on a particular case.
Usually it's a certain threshold, and I don't have the policy in front of me, but once it meets a certain threshold, they will contact us and see if there is funding availability or if we should structure it to where it's different kind of payments, and we'll talk it through depending on the funding availability.
Okay. So for me, when I hear the reasons, it's several things. Thank you so much. I think that, just knowing that part of the legislation, if there was going to be a threshold by which, or a method by which we should put it on the agenda, it should be once, it should be in relationship, not only the advice, and remember the advice of a parish attorney, just like any other attorney, is optional. And that as the client, you have a right to either accept it or not, but you're making an informed decision. But if the decision to move forward, it is in consultation with finances that we make that determination, not the parish attorney. When I was looking at the state statute, and I think it really doesn't, based on the plan of government that Councilman Dwight Hudson indicated, we do supposed to consult with the parish attorney in the plan of government, but in the state statute, it just says that it needs to be in concurrence. I mean, we need to be on the same page. So that's a little different, but I don't agree because it's not evenly stacked. For instance, it's not just the parish attorney and the council member. The parish attorney has to choose which parts of his department to be on that committee. We don't have the privilege at this time of being a part of that selection. So there may be, if this is going to be fair and impartial, then are we to choose which part of the office of, I would think that the council would want that to be left to the discretion of the parish attorney. We cannot deny that people have biases, and that we have to have kind of a check and balance. And we are making it a heavy presentation on the parish attorney, and we are delegating our authority as being elected officials to look out for the best interests of all our citizens. The parish attorney is, and this is no disrespect, they're hide hands for us. They're to give us their legal opinion. And if their legal opinion stood without any recourse or discussion, they would never go before a judge. So it is to the discretion of both the council members as well as the parish attorney, working as the state indicate in concurrence. But also not at all, if you're able to read or write or have any kind of institutional knowledge as it relates to American history and civics, you can make a very knowledgeable decision on both what is the law and what is not. I do it all the time from the Google University of Law. And so
Councilwoman Banks, you want to take your time?
No. So I just think that we should not, and even you shouldn't be comfortable not having an opportunity to have a balance in power where it's yourself and the council. And right now, you even advised the mayor. What can the mayor put an item on? I said no and then kept talking.
It's running. You're in your second time. You got 4 minutes, 37 seconds.
All right. Okay. So that's the other thing, So are we now going to say that if the mayor is interested in an item, because she has the same representation, that if she wants to do something at the parish attorney, she's going to have to go through this whole thing. So if we're talking about finance, we need to deal with finance. But political power, there's a reason why there's a defendant, why there's a, what else are they? Defendant, claim, whatever, clients, lawyers, because they all have to be together. And I wouldn't want anybody to settle a case for me, a lawyer, and not consult me and not know that at the end of the day, I need you to do what I need you to do. So that's it. So I'm against this item.
Councilman
Hudson.
as someone who also has the Google University law degree, I'll make a motion to approve with the following amendment items. Section 1.2C1, the last sentence will read, items seeking authority to settle or compromise claims shall not be submitted to the agenda without previously going through the claims review process. And I'll just add a quick anecdote for everyone to know. This actually would mimic the procedure that eventually resulted in the settlement of the Alton Sterling suit. If you remember, the process on this council was that item was blocked several times. Councilwoman Banks eventually agreed that she would take it through claims review process first, and then we would introduce it. And that happened, and we ended up with that result. So, it's a well, it was not exactly. You're right, not exactly. It was a little convoluted, but ultimately it's similar to that process. So I think it can work for all of us, and I think it represents the best interest of the constituents and the city parish fisc. Thank you.
Councilman Hurst.
I want both double nickel on this one. I'm joking. No, so I just want to make one comment because I heard PA Rome talk about I'm going to let it go through. And I don't think it's about you. I think it's about when you set precedences and rules in place that if you're not here, what do we follow? And so you may have let it go through, but maybe Andy wouldn't have, or maybe the prior person wouldn't have. So these rules are not necessarily for you specifically, but for moving forward, the councils that come behind us to make sure we have good legislation in place. So I do support Dwight's motion. Thank you.
All right. We have a motion. We have a motion to approve as amended. Motion by Councilman Hudson, seconded by Councilwoman Rocca. Do we have any opposition? Seeing none, motion carries.